Hey YouTube, welcome back to Wise Guys Garage. In today's video, we're doing a continuation on installing that rack and pinion into my MR2. And if you haven't seen that video, you're going to want to go ahead and check that one out first. Because what I did is I converted it to the MR2 Spyder Pinion as well as depowered the entire rack. So, without further ado, let's get this guy on the jacks and let's get started. Thankfully, this isn't my first rodeo on doing this by taking the rack and pinion out, I know I've said it a bunch of times, but I did purchase a second MR2 at one point. Basically just used it for parts. Now I gotta get these Dorito reels off real quick. For these little cotter pins, I like to use these lineman pliers, and you can just straight up cut it. That looks to be a 17. Now that we got the outer tie rods disconnected, we got to get these 4 bolts out. They actually are what hold the rack and pinion in place. Right there and there. And you can see mine's not in the best shape. It's a little rough, don't get me wrong, but hopefully these bolts come out no problem. Sweet. Now I just got to get this line off real quick. And this is where things start to get, well, messy. This is the return, if I'm not mistaken. Let that drain out. While it's draining, I'm going to try to crack this line loose. Alright, so we went ahead and pulled the rack and pinion out completely, and I did take out the power steering pump motor and the reservoir that goes into the frunk as well. So let me get you guys caught up to speed on what it's looking like right now. So right now we got these 2 huge holes that are in the frunk space that the reservoir used to go about right there, and the power steering pump motor used to go about right here. I have those sitting out. They're actually just sitting right there. They just got this giant like rubber grommet that holds this guy in place, and then this one has this little rubber seal on the side there that used to, like, you know, prevent any moisture or whatnot getting into the frunk area. So as you can see here, this is the power steering rack that is going to be going back in. If you didn't see the last video, I went ahead and already hydraulically deleted this guy. So it's basically just a bunch of gears, some gear oil, and that's about it on that stuff. Now you can see I went ahead and just reused the tie rod ends that I had laying around and the boots and whatnot, because it's already been a while and I haven't heard anything from the company that I ordered it from. There's nothing wrong with these parts. They actually seem to be in pretty dang good shape. The boot's a little torn here, and then the same on the other side. Basically there's like a little bit of the glue that I used to seal the boot there, but to be frank, since these things, I just need them just to get the car on the road. If they last a good while, that's fine, and then whenever those new parts and I start seeing some wear and tear on these things all come in, I'll take it all out and fix it then. But in the meantime, this should work so we can keep moving forward for the video's sake. So the plan is, I got some paper sitting out. I'm going to cut out some pieces of plastic to cover those 2 holes, and I'll get you guys set up on the tripod and we can get going on this. Just some piece of plastic I had sitting around. It's actually for a Crown Vic from 98 to 02. It's for the lower radiator spat, or whatever their technical term is. I don't know anymore. They just make a whole bunch of crap up, I feel like. And I'm not even concerned about these little extra pieces that are there, because I'm going to take a flap wheel to this and like really smooth it out so it looks real nice. we got our patch panel right here. What I'm gonna do is basically just fill this around this piece so I know for sure it's actually, like, you know, watertight. And then we can put this back on the car and go forward from there by doing the second panel. And now, when I install this back onto the car, that's going to compress against that gaping hole that's in the front pan, and it should, hopefully, possibly, you know, in theory, be some sort of watertight. Just going to clean this up real quick, you know, nothing spectacular, just a quick wipe down. Well, I have to say, for what that's made out of, just some scrap plastic I had laying around, that really doesn't look too bad. I mean, granted, I still need to clean up in here, but we're moving forward. We're moving in the right direction. Okay, so we got the rough template all bolted in, sort of, kind of, barely. The next step is just to get this guy buttoned up completely. So, as you can see, we got the rough edge of it kind of, sort of situated in place of where I want it. I'm gonna get my marker out really quick and start marking that thing. And what I want to do is work with the edge I got right there at the bottom. So that's going to be bolted in with the holes that are behind on the wall there. And what I want to do is go along the edge of the battery tray. Now the tricky thing is I can't go straight back with that. So what I'm going to do is go little by little, start, go from there, and see what we got. I think if I go along that edge and go on a straight line and stop about right here, I should be good. I'm gonna curve that just a little bit more and then go straight with it all along that yellow line. Right about there. And when that's sitting flat, that's gonna look real nice. Well, after a lot of finagling, this is what we got. I got the patch panel covering over that hole, and then there was 2 extra ones behind where the motor actually sits. That's why it's going up on a 90. So I went straight across the edge, like I said, and that's all filled with the aluminum foam, so it makes like a little gasket. Next thing is we gotta go underneath the car and install that rack and pinion. But before I do all that, I want to get this stuff all cleaned up. I got a mess of just stuff everywhere, so. Well, I don't think that pump was too happy with the amount of metal shavings and flakes I got in here. Oh well, let's go to the bench and clean these up real quick. There's that. It's already got grease on it, so we're good there. This is the extension I put in on the end of the rack and pinion, and what this essentially is doing is extending it out so the angle matches right with the one that's in the car now, because that's not the original steering column, because the original one broke. And that is a steering column from a 2014 Toyota Camry. Alright, now we can get this cover on there. Should be just long enough to get a bolt or nut on there. Well, it wouldn't be a project without making a mess. That's okay. We got everything completed. Let's take a look at the front now that I got everything all buttoned up. I got the rack and pinion completely installed, and the steering wheel is back on the car. So let's see. So it doesn't actually look too bad. That's where the first patch panel is on the right hand side. That's where the motor used to sit. It's, like I said, that's from a Crown Vic, the little radiator spat. And on the left hand side, same exact type of material. It's covered up with all those wires. They're going to get deleted very, very soon once I can get the entire front harness deleted and modified and remove everything that is no longer needed anymore. But other than that, I'd say it actually isn't looking too bad at the moment. Next thing I got to do is obviously clean up this mess. But in order for me to do that, I'm going to move the car out of the garage to give me a lot more space, and it just makes cleaning 10 times more efficient. Let's go ahead and get that done, and I'll get you guys back on camera in just a second. I don't have much gas, but we'll see how far we can go. Alright. Good alignment, this thing feels great. Yeah, not too bad. Quick little rev for y'all. Well, besides some tires and getting the engine lid to shut, she's pretty much all set. I got to get front tires, but these are the rims I'm going to be running right here. My brother actually gave them to me. They fit the front, no problem, but the tires that are on there, they're just way too tall. So we're going to get those swapped out for some smaller ones that can fit, and then she should be all good there. All right, so that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this week's video. I really appreciate you all tuning in. Unfortunately, like I said, I wasn't able to put the new parts in, and I don't know when they're going to get here, but I really needed the car to get back together because I already took the rack and pinion out and whatnot. So I just went ahead and cobbled together whatever the best used parts I had, and we're just going to rock that until they fail, and then we can get that stuff swapped out. If you guys are interested, I am working on a new intake manifold. I'm probably not going to produce any parts for it, but I'm really interested to see if you could cobble together with some parts off of boat to make more horsepower. So if you guys want to see a video on that stuff for a 2GR, go ahead and leave a comment down below. But other than that, guys, it's pretty much going to wrap it up for this week's video. I really appreciate you all tuning in, and if you haven't hit that like button, go ahead and like it and share to your friends or family member, and make sure you subscribe because it really helps the channel grow. I hope to see you in next week's video. Take care.